Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
And when the ones you trust to be fair and just turn on you,
and you're all alone in the great unknown, and you don't know what you should do,
find your heart of hearts,
knowing and play.
If you get that far,
just keep going, remembering this. Do what your heart says you should do.
It's the most precious part of you.
That's where pieces come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
It tells who you're meant to be, and gives you the strength to believe. Don't settle for less than your dreams. Do what your heart says you should do.
It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for. Do what your heart says.
Center for Spiritual Living St. George is seeking a new senior minister. St. George is a top Utah destination with its incredibly mild climate and close proximity to not one but 5 beautiful national parks. It boasts several award-winning golf courses, many parks and recreation areas, as well as over 65 miles of urban trail system. It is home to numerous festivals and art shows, concerts and theater productions, in addition to hosting various national sporting events. All of this in a city with a population of only 90,000 and a metropolitan area of around 170,000. Center for Spiritual Living St. George welcomes diversity and is as spectacular as its surrounding area. Founded in 2011, we have been an integral part of our community, holding weekly Sunday services, offering classes and workshops, and sponsoring special events. We have a dedicated leadership team that includes 6 tenured core council members, 5 licensed practitioners, a staff music leader, and regular volunteers. If you or someone you know might be interested in being a part of this thriving center, please visit our website at CSLSG.org or log on to our Facebook page, Center for Spiritual Living St. George, where we are currently streaming our live Sunday morning services and would love to have you join us. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Good morning. We're so happy to have you here at Center for Spiritual Living, St. George. We welcome you on this cool, drizzly fall November morning. It's cool, but it's beautiful. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. So as we continue November's theme, Living as Compassionate Conduits, I'm going to introduce who's here with me today. This morning we have Kelly Capsar, practitioner, who will invoke our invocation. Cheryl Barlow will provide, as always, her beautiful music. Callista Ames will read our sacred reading, our sacred covenant, as we look to search for a new minister. And you don't see her, but Marina Anderson is behind the scenes making all of this happen. So we're very, very grateful for her. It's our special guest today that we have Reverend Elisha Christopher with us. He's been with us before. So very, very happy to have him and happy that you are all joining us. So with that, Cheryl Barlow, love be known.
Good morning, Gwen, and welcome everyone. CSL St. George, so grateful to be here this morning. This is a song by Amber Darland, who's an amazing New Thought musician, and it's called Love Be Known. And just embrace this lyric. Holy, high awaken forevermore, love be known. Holy, high awaken forevermore, love be known. All is right, all is well within my soul. Peace be my offering forevermore, love be known. Peace be my offering forevermore, love be known. All is right, all is well within my soul. And now I'm going to turn over to Kelly Capsar to do our invocation this morning.
Thank you, Cheryl. And so I invite you to just breathe in. Maybe put your hands on your heart, remembering that there truly is only one life, one power, one love. And we remember with every breath that presence is right here within each of us, individually and collectively. That everything that is truly that highest expression of love in action, of life in action. The trees and the wind, the birds and the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, the sunshine and the waves, the red rocks and the clouds. Everything that has gone on, everything that is going on right here, right now, is truly love and life in action. And we breathe into the peace of that knowing. We breathe into the conscious conduit that we have said yes to repeatedly over and over and over. For when we choose to let love lead the way, all is possible. And so for this moment, this circle, this community, this nation, we're so very, very grateful for the healing that has happened, the healing that is continuing to happen, the choices of love, the choices of life that we make individually and collectively, knowing that this time is perfect, for it is God's time. And so in this knowing, I just simply am so grateful, knowing that the words of the music and the talk, everybody who participates in this in any way, shape, or form is blessed by and is a blessing to this thing we call life, this thing we call love. And so I rest in that. I rest in life, I rest in love. And call it good and very good. And we breathe into that life, that love, that oneness, calling it good and very good, knowing that love has got this, love has got us. And we let it go, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much, Kelly. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well within my soul. Peace be my offering forevermore. Love be known. Peace be my offering forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well. All is right. All is right. All is well within my soul. And now I'm going to invite Callista Ames, a member of our core council, and she is going to read our sacred covenant today. Good morning, Callista.
Good morning, Cheryl. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God, I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is a fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written, "Let us learn to draw the substance down into our own lives, and as freely as it has been given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole." Ernest Holmes. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as growing the center in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing the truth about myself, for I live the presence and law of God. I demonstrate wisdom through a mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibility for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. I embrace. I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. And so it is. So as Gwen mentioned, the November theme is living as compassionate conduits. And this week's focus is, what is God giving you? What is God giving you? Science of Mind founder Ernest Holmes affirmed, "I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power and is always right where I am." And in Sermon by the Sea, he stated, "Find me one person who can get their own littleness out of the way, and they shall reveal to me the immeasurable magnitude of the universe in which I live." Immeasurable magnitude. I love that line. And this song is an affirmation of our divine inheritance. What does my life want to be? Is this hope inside of me? Is it joy or blasphemy to think I might be special? A lump of clay, a ray of sun. Either way, we're chosen ones. Divine creation, life begun. A spark of holy vessel. Come, Spirit, use me. Take hold and move me. I want to see with holy eyes and unravel all the lies to walk in truth. Come, Spirit, do. When the doubt starts creeping in and subtle fear appears to win, I turn my thoughts to the voice within, knowing it knows better. All that's living in my heart is God's design, a work of art. The breath of life right from the start, a soul that lives forever. Come, Spirit, take me, expose and break me, to remind me who I am, and ignite the dream at hand. Let love shine through. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, use me. Take hold and move me. I want to see with holy eyes and unravel all the lies to walk in truth. Yes, Spirit, take me, expose and break me, to remind me who I am, and ignite the dream at hand. Let love shine through. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, do. Come, Spirit, do. Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Elijah. So
Thank
good
you,
to see
Cheryl.
you. Looking forward to your talk.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thanks.
Well, good morning, my friends. Let's begin just by taking a few breaths together. So if you will, breathe everything out and take a deep breath in. And let go. Together, let's take another deep breath in. And let go. One more collective breath, breathing in. And let go. Well, good morning. There is a lot that we could talk about today. I just want to say that I actually want to begin by saying, in the beginning of 2020, me and many of us began to claim that 2020 is the year of clear vision. That the metaphor, the play, the drama that we all get to live out over the course of 2020 is the clarifying of our understanding, the clarifying of our vision, the ability for each one of us to begin to see ourselves, see the universe, see life, see each other, to see things as they are, to see with 2020 vision. And so often when we are moving through an experience, it's so difficult to see what is happening. And so I want to invite us, as we move into November, as we start creeping towards the end of 2020, to now take the opportunity and start looking back with that 2020 hindsight, with our new 2020 vision, and really beginning to look deeply and clearly at the circumstances, at what is being reflected back at us through our collective experience, through our individual experience, through everything that has been playing out in and through the world over the last year. You know, I always say that the universe is a mirror, that our experience is God giving us back to us in every moment. And so, of course, our topic for today is, what is God giving you? If we've spent the year churning through this experience and moving through this collective manifestation, which is showing us what's been living in our collective mind, what's been living inside of our collective beingness, and 2020 has shown us so much. We've moved through COVID, and we are continuing to do so, which has brought, in my opinion, a deep metaphorical awareness of our relationship to the planet and our interconnection to each other, and so much of what needs to change in our relationship to life itself. And you've heard me speak to that over a number of our times together. And we've also seen that there are systemic systems of thought in our country that really need to be examined, that have little tendrils inside of each one of us that we all need to begin to pull at in order to unravel the collective tapestry so that we can change the picture and the experience that we are having, that individuals are having, that particular groups of people are having. And so much of our shadow has come up over the last year for us to truly, truly see who we are. And then we've moved through the last week. And the thing that I am most astonished by, and the thing that I actually want to invite us to contemplate as our deep question to move forward from, is what is God giving us? What is being reflected back at each one of us when we just now have had a huge snapshot of what is moving in our collective mind? And the first thing that I want to point out is I have been really churning through and really fascinated by how, in a sense, balanced the vote was all around for the presidential race, for the Senate race, for the House race. America has really shown up in this way that has said what if we say, instead of we are so incredibly divided, that there is a deep sense of balance that is showing up, that is, right now we need to learn how to balance between these different opinions, between these very different worldviews, between these very, very different ideologies, ways of perceiving life, that we have created two very different Americas, and we now need to learn how to find balance in between the two of them. And I really believe that the challenge for all of us, and not challenge in a negative way, but a challenge in a let's go out and do this kind of way, that the challenge in front of us now is to begin to learn how to bridge, how to connect, how to heal between those different sides. And as we moved into the last week, where we saw where we have seen the confirmation of the presidential election, and I watched the acceptance speech from the president and vice president elect, and the thing that I saw was once again reflecting back to me this idea that our nation really is beginning to choose to move in a new direction, that we are acknowledging that it is time to raise certain people up and to give the voice and to watch the future emerge and to participate in it. I'm astonished that if we look at the incoming White House, it is potentially one of the most diverse groups of people to be holding and living and moving into that space. Joe Biden is only the second Catholic president. Kamala Harris represents the first woman vice president, the first person of East Asia, of Indian descent, the first African American person to be in the vice presidential position. Her husband is a Jewish man. She has a mixed race family. That we are seeing the face of America's diversity rising up to hold a new picture of who we are, and that is being reflected back at us. And then underneath that, there is this great sense of division that we're going to start calling balance in our new conversation, that there's a balance of opinions that we need to learn how to walk between and to bring the connections between. And I want to invite each one of us now to begin to look at the whole span of what's began to emerge over the last year. Because I believe that we are in a time of great turning, a time of great transition. And every one of us has been stirred up in some way by the last year. And many of us have been stirred up by the last week. And I want to invite all of us to really look deeply from that place of what is God giving me? From that place of seeing that the universe is a mirror, that life is reflecting us back to us all the time, I want to say that in this time of great transition, whatever is the thing that has been stirred up in you, that has been stirred up in me the most, I believe that that is the thing that God, the process, the verb, the experience, is seeking to give each one of us right now. That in this time of turning, in this time of great change, whatever it is that's being stirred up from the center of each one of us is the thing that we have to look at. And 2020 should have hit all of the different parts of each one of us, so we know where our stuff is. Somewhere each one of us has been stirred up. Somewhere each one of us has been shaken a little bit, or however it's moved in us. And whether it's moved us from a place of fear, or whether it's moved us from a place of igniting a passion, whether it's gotten us to march in the streets or read a book and look inside of ourselves, whether it's gotten us to vote for the first time, whether it's gotten us to show up in record numbers to stand for the process of democracy, whatever it is that's been stirred up in you this year, that is yours to do. That is your work. And for some of us, it's going to be deep internal work. We need to unravel some things. For some of us, it's to be getting out into the world and beginning to work on how each one of us can focus on building this world that works that we've been envisioning in for CSL for so long. That now is the time to begin building a world that works. And I believe that 2020 has been about the shakeup so that we can all see where our piece of the puzzle is. We shook the box, we've spread all the pieces across the country, across the planet, and every single one of us needs to use the disruption in our hearts, in our lives, in our ways of thinking and doing, and look into that and say, what is being called from me? What am I being called to look at? What am I being called to change? What am I being called to do? And then name that thing and make that your project for the next year, for the next decade, for the rest of your life. Say, this is my piece of the puzzle, and I'm going to figure out how to put this back into a world that works. Because we all broke the working world together through our unconsciousness, through our following of paradigms, of living in stories, of being part of an unfolding culture. And it has led us to a moment where we have seen the cracks in everything. And I believe that now is the time to begin to start looking how to mend the wounds, how to bring things back together, to see the divide as an opportunity to bring forth balance and opinion. Because no matter how you feel about what has happened in the last week, I believe that we need to really be looking and thinking and acting and responding from our hearts, from compassion, from love. Can we learn to let love lead us through these times and be people who are deeply choosing to be part of the forward movement of culture, of thought, of consciousness, of life itself? There is something powerful moving on the planet, moving in humanity, moving in consciousness, and it is changing everything around us. We've all witnessed a dramatic wave of change that has moved across the planet, that has shaken up so much on so many levels, and there is so much changing, which means that there is a lot of fear in the world. And if you're celebrating now, or if you're afraid now because of what has transpired in the last week, remember what it felt like 4 years ago when it was flipped and you were celebrating or afraid in the opposite way that you are now. Remember what that felt like. There are people who are feeling that right now. Ways of doing and being are changing. The world is changing. We are in a time of great transmutation, transformation, transmission. Something is moving through the mind of humanity. And I believe we are being called to a new level of being, to a new level of showing up with and for each other. And we have to really begin to look and feel and believe in our oneness. And I don't think it's something that we can take for granted and just be like, you know what, we're all one, it's okay. No, I think oneness needs to be our destination. Oneness needs to be our goal. Unity needs to be something that we are actively engaging in. And if we see a them out there, realize that there's something that they have to offer us. As I've been watching the nation become more and more divided and less willing to listen to each other and closing our ears and saying la 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 when the other side is speaking, and throwing away people's opinions just because they're on a different side of a story than we are. I'm reminded that Ken Wilber says that no human mind is capable of 100% error, which means even someone who's 99% wrong might have 1% of truth to offer us, and that 1% of truth might be really important. And we may not be able to see that 1% of truth from our perspective, and it may have taken the 99% of misunderstanding for that person to find that 1% conclusion. And you know what? Maybe that conclusion is valuable. I want to invite us to move into the next days and weeks recognizing that everyone has something to offer. And then if we actually want to build a world that works, if we want to live in a nation that works, it's going to take everyone. And if any one of us believes that there's a them out there who we can't work with, then we cannot access everyone. We need to find it in our hearts to live and move and breathe and ask and act from a place of compassion. How many of us in the last year have reached out to someone of an opposite political party and said, can I just listen? I'm really interested to know why you're voting the way that you're voting. I'm really interested to know why you believe what you believe. I'm really curious what has led you to these conclusions. Can I just listen and not argue so that I can maybe hear something that I didn't hear before? How many of us have been willing to set our own opinion, our own beliefs, our own ideas about what's happening aside enough to just hear someone else? Enough to actually listen underneath what they're saying, through what they're saying, to the deep motivation, the deep truths, the deep storylines that they're living in that are bringing them to these conclusions. We must be willing to bridge the great divide of otherness if we ever want to heal. And so I believe that this moment of seemingly great division in our country is an opportunity for unity. Imagine if what we see in the courts and the Senates and the House and in the Senate as this election continues, what if what we see is that both houses are divided by maybe only 1 or 2 votes? Well, then suddenly, dialogue is an incredibly important thing. Suddenly working together is an incredibly important thing, because all it takes is 1 or 2 people's minds to be changed to sway entire movements of decisions. What if great division can bring us to a sense of balance that allows us to begin to work together in a way that allows us to heal, that allows us to bring forward movement into the world in a way that we actually couldn't before, when all we wanted to do was stop listening to each other. But if our nation is divided 50-50 or 49-51, we have to dialogue with each other. We have to work together. We have to move in a way that allows us to stop the blockade and start to hear and listen and do a synthesis of thinking. Because maybe there's truth on all sides. Maybe there are ideas that need to come together that we've only been able to see as separate, but when we bring them together, something else emerges that none of us could see before. So I want us to look into the world with the eyes of hope, of compassion, of possibility, of looking for the place where each one of us can reach out and be the bridge, where each one of us can be willing to listen through the ears of understanding, where each one of us is willing to begin to contemplate and reflect with our new 2020 clarity and 2020 hindsight, with 2020 vision, and look at all that has been unfolding, all that has been pulled out from each one of us. And now that it's out, say, what can I do with this? What can I do with the entangled parts of me that are participating in these great systems? What can I do about my interconnection with other people, with them, with they out there, with the planet? Let us be a people who are looking for possibility, because we know that we can never solve the issue with the mind that created it. So let us collectively rise to a new mind, so that we can rise to new possibilities, to new solutions, so that we can begin to actively participate in not just visioning and holding the idea of a world that works for everyone, but actually being the people who are taking the steps and having the conversations and making the choices necessary to build it, to bring it into being. And so if you will, take a deep breath with me and let go. Take another deep breath in and let go. And if it's comfortable for you, close your eyes as we breathe in again. And let each one of us bring our hearts and minds to a place of awareness where we acknowledge that there is only one thing happening. That this process, that this presence, that this beingness that we call God is seamlessly interwoven into every interaction, into every experience, into every moment, into every choice, into every unfolding circumstance. This one life is intimately participating in all of it. That indeed this presence that we call God, that is unfolding the entire universe, that has been expanding across time and space for all time, across all space, is truly one thing. That consciousness pervades everything. That it permeates all of existence. That it is participating in every particulate of it all. And that means that right where I am, right where each one of us is, this presence is living and breathing. That each one of us is being breathed by God. That each one of us is being lived by the universe. That it is the consciousness of the one itself that is looking out through each one of our individual eyes, and hearing through our ears, and speaking and choosing and being and living as each one of us. Let us be in the awareness of the power that exists in our unity, and then begin to seek it out, begin to build it, to begin to be the place where it happens in the world. So that we can live in a state of expectancy every day, waking up to see a bit of the new vision growing, to see new connections being made, to see new conversations being had, to see new ways of being unfolding in front of us. Let us know that we live in a world that is so complex that every single one of the solutions necessary are available, are here. It's just a matter of us connecting the dots, of being the place of connection, where one idea, where one person, where one change is brought into the world in a new way, connected in a new way, uplifted in a new way. Let us be the living celebration of life moving towards cohesion. Let each one of us remember that there is a power for good in this universe that is greater than we are, that has been driving evolution for all time, that has been unfolding all life forever. And it is living, breathing, unfolding right here and right now, as each one of us, as our collective, as everything that is happening. And so let us use it all as a reflective tool to say, what is God giving me? And what can I give to God? What is being evoked from within me? And where can I make a practical application in my life into the world and be the place where change happens and be the place where the new world emerges. Let each one of us be the place where God shows up. And so let us just begin the declaration of all that has been spoken by saying, yes, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Elijah. You always bring us such profound perspectives and hope, and thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Sunday. So we have a new slide, and rather than just try to explain to you, I'm going to read it because Marina Anderson, our core council president, wrote this beautifully. So I'm going to share these words. And we ask that you partner with CSL St. George in abundance. Your leadership team continues the conversation regarding the decision-making about the wisest use of our resources and the rent of our lovely physical space. We have scheduled a visioning session this week on Wednesday, knowing that we are divinely guided for the center's highest purpose. As we continue to proceed carefully and prayerfully, we also know that we are partners with you in the great masterpiece that is CSL St. George. The center's ability to continue its mission to enhance the spiritual practice of its community is directly related to the level of membership investment. If you are moved to contribute financially to the center, please, now is the time. Any dollar amount helps. One-time donations are always helpful, but reoccurring donations create sustainability. So we ask with an open heart that you will join us as we vision on Wednesday, that you would do so in prayer, hold the leadership group in prayer, so that whatever is determined, whatever comes out of that visioning, will be the right, good thing that's supposed to happen. Thank you. So our announcements, of course, we are still looking for a minister. So if anyone knows someone that would be interested in coming to this beautiful St. George Red Rock community, please let them know, let us know, because we know it will happen. We know they're probably on the way right now as we speak. So, but if we could just speed that process, that would even be better. Join us on Zoom after at 12 o'clock. You can get the Zoom address. It's on, Marina sends out every Friday an update. So it's, the address is on there. It's on our webpage. And it's also in the monthly newsletter that comes out. So please join us as we invite Reverend Christopher Elisha to join us, and we can discuss some of his interesting topics. We are here to support you as always, even though we can't do it in person. We have a community care circle who, if you need a phone call, if whatever you need, we are here to support and help you. So please, if you need a prayer request, you can see the email address there, or you can phone call and leave a message. So we are here to support you. Sue Fulmer continues her book club, the book of Soul by Mark Nepo. So that's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock on Zoom. So please join us. Next Sunday, We have Reverend Hannah Rothland, who's been such a big part of this community for so long. And so we look forward to her speaking. And then the Sunday after that, we welcome back Eugene Holden, who is a practitioner and also writes for Science of Mind magazine. So both interesting speakers. So please join us again Sunday. We'd like to start with our closing affirmation, which we're all going to read when we get everyone popped up here so that we can see each other. So, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is becoming. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
life.
you,
life.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Please
Bye,
join
everybody.
us on Zoom. Have a good Sunday.
Thank you.
Blessings.